As a candidate, I am this. Immigration. I'm a prosecutor by profession. I was that tiny girl. Any policy that would prevent any person in our nation from having access to public health, public safety, or public education is something I strongly oppose. That's giving up on the middle class. There is racism in our nation. The truth is, every position I have ran for, I was the first to be elected. Who among us hasn't encountered the circumstance when you have to wait for permission and the physician says, "I'm not sure if your insurance company will pay for this." Let's get rid of everything. A person of color first. Looking over the fence from a ladder outside the Homestead Juvenile Immigration Detention Facility south of Miami, I observed kids arranged like inmates. Comprehensive immigration reform must be passed. Period. A family seeks for opportunities to encourage and uplift one another. My biggest hero has always been and always will be my mother. Inadequate enforcement and loose rules. A family has a shared past and experiences struggles together. It's the policy I like most. I find it hard to sit still for extended periods of time. Among the luckiest persons on the planet is me. In California, homeowners face the possibility of losing their homes to foreclosure or receiving relief to allow them to remain in their properties on a daily basis, and I was always troubled by it. I was raised on tales of my mother's mother, my grandmother, who used to go to Indian villages in her little VW bug, and it is a wonderful day for everyone in our state to have equal protection under the law. Hillary Clinton seems like she could do anything. The ancient idea of redemption must be included into the work that the California criminal justice system does. Many DACA participants will tell you that the risk is worthwhile in order to live and work in the only nation they have ever known as home. DACA recipients take significant risks in order to come out of the shadows and apply. That isn't how one leads. I believe I own every song ever recorded by Bob Marley. In order to be wise about crime, we shouldn't be in the habit of responding to crimes after they occur. My campaigns usually begin early, and I run hard. The Golden State is not all that California is. Medical care, changes in climate. We are all entitled to the American dream. Additionally, we cannot overlook domestic policy. Everyone wants to see the public safe. There is actual sexism in our nation. As a member of the Senate Intelligence Committee, I am aware that the men and women who serve in our intelligence community risk their lives on a daily basis in order to protect our nation. Our focus needs to be on stopping crime before it occurs. To really comprehend someone, you need to be able to see, smell, and feel their situation. My employees are aware that family comes first. Ideologically structured discourse is not what we want to hear. I've been fortunate enough to be able to run for the offices that I really wanted to work for. The first female. That might be seen by some as being cautious. I just believe that it's crucial to avoid taking oneself too seriously. I really do. The main issue with the Hyde Amendment is that it effectively singles out poor and underprivileged women. DACA participants carry out significant medical research, work for Fortune 100 firms, and serve in the armed forces, each and every time. The internet state is also who we are. I often recommend that we consider all angles of a situation, put ourselves in other people's shoes, recognize bad decisions, and reject them. In the US, hate crimes are not new. Kamala, you may be the first to do many things, but make sure you're not the last, was a statement that belonged to my mother. Children may text on their phones all night long these days, and no one else can see them. Perhaps it originates from the cutthroat world of San Francisco politics, where the competition is more like a blood sport than a contact sport. I like being in a legal setting. The best, most economical, and most intelligent approach to address an epidemic, be it criminal or health, is to start with prevention. It's crucial that my kid understands that. Throughout my tenure in law enforcement, I have often seen the unselfishness and bravery of law enforcement personnel who risk their lives daily to safeguard individuals they will never meet and have no personal connection to. Let me tell you something. I believe that the American people want a president who will take an interest in the issues that bother them, weigh them down, and are manageable yet nevertheless keep them up at night. She is very effective, intelligent, and committed to serving the public. For violent and dangerous offenders, I firmly think that we should imprison and hold them responsible for their actions. Government should not be in the business of dictating to women what to do with their bodies, in my opinion. Should we fail to elevate women and families, then we will all fall short. I've been taught and have decades of experience to make conclusions based on a thorough analysis of the available data and facts. There is actual anti-Semitism in our nation. First Lady of Color, you need to, in my opinion, do due diligence. It is your responsibility to ensure that others have the same opportunities as you if you are lucky enough to have them. Who is phoning that youngster you don't know? I was brought up to be a self-reliant lady, not a victim of any circumstance. I called the first ever national training session for prosecutors, educating them on how to prosecute cases involving hate crimes and how to overcome the homosexual panic defense. There is actual homophobia in this nation. I subscribe to the proverb that states, "As California goes, so goes the country." The nuptials will start and the bells will ring. And to hold off on making big motions until after I've completed that, I'm in favor of universal health care. Extremists don't have to define who we are. It was awful. That isn't how one leads. They had been taken from their homes and placed in this exclusive holding facility. I acknowledge that increased enforcement of gun dealer restrictions is a necessary component of my emphasis on sensible gun safety measures. It's how I manage campaigns. I also don't have to lead two different lives, since I have a family that is really supportive of the job I perform. We must continue to monitor developments in North Korea and Russia. It's difficult for me to speak about myself, allowing the middle class to suffer while doing nothing. I would not be a leading candidate for President of the United States today, and I would not be a member of the Senate if segregationists had their way. You know, that's simply being responsible. In my opinion, it is illegal for a youngster to not get an education. Using a bullhorn, my grandma would ensure that the ladies in these communities understood how to get birth control. I was aware of the shortcomings in the criminal justice system from birth. I realized that, in my capacity as a prosecutor, I would be able to decide someone's fate with a single stroke of my pen. A little child in California was bused to school every day and was a member of the second class of integrated students in her public school system.